It is Christmas time once more. My favorite holiday, favorite time of the year. Super excited for that. It's Christmas Day. This is my Christmas special of this year. What Christmas special did I do last year? I did a short film. This year I'm downgrading because I'm just talking about movies instead of actually making one like I did for last year's Christmas special. Great. Anyways, countdown my top 7 favorite Christmas specials, because why not? Let's get into this beautiful list. Number 7 is A Charlie Brown Christmas. Came out in 1965. This is the Christmas special of Charlie Brown, and it's a classic everyone knows. Everybody's seen multiple times. And I like it a lot. It's interesting because this one seems very simple and basic, and there's not a lot to it. But I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, that's sort of what it's all about. It's all about teaching the simplicity of the Christmas story. It was just Jesus being born in the manger. It's such a simple little story, but it has huge meaning. So it's it's just a simple story that has a big message, a big meaning, a big, I don't know, thing. So it's kind of that, and it's just nice to have something just so small and simple and just, and I like the characters. Who doesn't like the Charlie Brown characters? The classic Charlie Brown characters. I don't like any of the new Charlie Brown stuff they've done, like a lot of the ones. Actually, there was that movie that came out in theaters, Charlie Brown. I haven't seen it, but I don't know. It's just nice, and it gives you a lot of good Christmas feelings. The song they play in it, Christmas Time Is Here, I love that. I actually had that song playing in my short film. Like, the music from it was in my short film. That's how much I like that, my Christmas short film that I did last year. So it's great. It's a great time. So if you want just a nice, quick, simple little thing, has a couple funny lines in it that are always fun. There you go, Charlie Brown. Number 6, National Lampoons Christmas Vacation. There's not really a lot to say about this one other than it's funny. I mean, there's a lot of nice Christmas imagery and stuff in it, so it gives you nice Christmas feelings, I guess, but not really. It's funny. It's a good comedy. That's not much more I have to say about it other than it's funny. Number 5, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I'm not talking about the Jim Carrey one. I enjoy that movie for other reasons because of how ridiculous Jim Carrey is in it and stuff. I mean, that's really the only thing I like about that movie actually is Jim Carrey. The rest of the movie's eh. But anyways, I'm talking the classic, the old one from 1966. It says on my paper there. Wow, look at that. Good thing I took notes on these things. And yeah, this one, the animation is great, and it pulls it straight from the classic Seuss story. I mean, Dr. Seuss was great with writing kids' books, and it's a good story. It's a good story, and it's classic and good story. Dr. Seuss, again, is great. It's all in rhyme, Susie in rhyme. The newer Grinch movies kind of didn't do that. They did this weird thing where it's parts of it are in rhyme and parts of it aren't, and it's either go all the way with the rhyming or not. I don't know. Anyways, ultimate classic, and the song You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. That's a classic song that I love to sing along to every Christmas. So that's also beautiful. Again, animation is beautiful, all that good stuff. The voice, what's his name? Karlov, whatever his name is. Beautiful voice. He did the voice of the Grinch and the narration. His amazing voice talent there. So, always a classic. Next we have number 4. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. Now this one I like a lot. First off, it's an ultimate classic. Old, 46, really old. I don't know, I'd always loved the story of the movie. It's like the idea of this guy regretting his life decisions and being like, I wish I had a better life, but then he's taken by the angel and he realizes how great his life actually is, and he starts to see what it would be like if his life was different, if he did end up having that dream that he never ended up getting because life got in the way or whatever. But it's an interesting thing too, because it actually takes its time to get to that part. And most of it actually shows his life, shows his life up to that, and you sort of actually see oh, this was his dream, but he never got to leave and accomplish his dream because all these things kept happening, and you see it progress, so it makes you feel it more when it gets to the end and he starts to see what his life would have been like if he had completed his dream. And it's I like the way it does that, where most of it is just showing the rest of his life, and then it's okay, now we're gonna show the whole main story with the angel coming in and showing him the alternate ending that his life could have looked like. So and then he starts to realize, oh my gosh, I actually am better off with the choices that I actually made in life, and great classic story. I don't know, I just love that story and the way it's done with again, showing his whole life for most of the movie and then getting into the actual main story. So very good, very good. Number 3, we have Home Alone. And this one is just really fun to watch. Macaulay Culkin is just really great as the lead. I mean, kid actors usually suck, but he's actually good. And one thing you'll notice in the second one, which I do like Home Alone 2, but his acting isn't as good in it for whatever reason. His acting is actually better in Home Alone 1 than it is in Home Alone 2. For whatever reason, it just, there's that reason. I don't know why, but it that's the way it happens. So, you know what? Whatever. But anyways, Home Alone 1, great classic. The music, the score is great. It was John Williams, so obviously it's great. Home Alone music, some of the music that John Williams did for that movie specifically is now things we hear some of his score and you automatically think Christmas, and it's automatically a Christmas, his score, just the music is an automatic Christmas classic since then. I mean, and also this movie is a classic at this point, really. I mean, I don't know, there's just so many memorable lines, and all the characters are fun, and the villains are fun. Oh my gosh, I love those two. Harry and Marv, you got Joe Pesci I love Joe Pesci, great actor. So it's just fun and to see them, and again, the music is great, and you do get some nice Christmas feelings. The ending is really nice and sweet, and when you see what's his name reuniting with his son and his granddaughter and stuff, and it's got a sweet ending, and it's also really funny and got some fun violence. So what's not to love? right, number 2. From 1983, we have A Christmas Story. Now, this is an interesting one. A lot of people actually don't like this movie, I've noticed, because they find it kind of annoying and, like, weird. I don't know, like, I love this movie. We have this weird tradition in my family where we watch this movie on Christmas Eve every year. Mainly because there's a TV channel, I forget which one, that plays it like for 24 hours straight on like Christmas Eve and part of Christmas Day. And so we're like, one year we were like, hey, it's on TV, let's watch it on Christmas Eve. And ever since then, we just watch it on TV on Christmas Eve every year. So it's just been a tradition, so that's nice. And I enjoy it every time. Again, quotable lines, all that good stuff. Great kid actor, kind of like Home Alone. It's just, the thing I like about it too, though, is it really captures the feeling of being a kid around Christmas time, which I think is really nice because, you know, Christmas through the eyes of a child is like, that's where you get like the magic of Christmas, being a child and, you know, all that stuff, believing in Santa and blah, 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 all that magic of being a kid around Christmas. And wow, anything can happen around Christmas time because it's Christmas and Christmas magic, and you kind of see that through the eyes of a kid, when it's actually kind of narrated from him as an adult, looking back on what it was like when he was a kid, and you get that sort of viewpoint, and it's really cool, and just a lot of good Christmas feelings, even though it's also really funny. It's also really funny. There's also a lot of funny things in it, and yeah, I don't know. I think this one was an automatic classic when it came out. So there you go. Now for number 1, 1983, Mickey's Christmas Carol. Now it seems interesting that I would choose this as number 1. I mean, this is a good Christmas classic, but is it really up there as number 1? For me, here's personally my thought process that went into it. First off, I love Christmas Carol. I think it's just a great story. It is probably the best, one of my favorite Christmas stories. It's just such a classic story. There's been so many versions of it over the years. There's been, you know, it started off as a book, but then there's been plays, there's been movies, there's been like just so many adaptations of this story because of how great the story is. Now, why did I choose this one specifically? Well, okay, so I was kind of going through like the different Christmas Carol movies, and really none of them stand out to me. I mean, like, there's the Muppet one, which is always fun. I like it, but it's lacking something. I don't know. This one, whenever I think of Christmas Carol in movie form, this is the movie I think of. Again, there's been many great ones. There's been a few different live action ones. There was like a Western one. There was like that one that, I don't know. There's a bunch of different versions of this, but this one has always been the quintessential one for me. The one I always think of, you know, whenever I think of like Ebenezer Scrooge, I think of Scrooge McDuck. He's perfect as that role. I mean, his name is literally Scrooge McDuck, which, is that why he was named Scrooge when that character was created? Because I was looking this up. The character of Scrooge McDuck was created way before, like 10 or so years before this movie. So was that done on purpose? Was he supposed to be like Ebenezer Scrooge? That's why they called him Scrooge McDuck? Interesting. But yeah, he's perfect as that role. You know, and I just, you know, I love seeing the classic Disney cartoon characters, the classic Disney characters all sort of playing different roles, and it's you know, I don't know, I'm a sucker for animation. A few of my favorite movies of all time are animated movies, like, you know, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Secret of NIMH. Those are two of my favorite movies of all time. And they're animated movies, so, and a bunch of the animated Disney classics as well, obviously. You know, so it's, I don't know, I've always been a huge sucker for animation, so I just love it in that way, and I think it really captures the story really well and all that, and yeah, that has to be number one. And again, it's because Christmas Carol is probably my favorite Christmas story, classic Christmas story. It's just a beautiful story. There you go. So anyways, that concludes my countdown of my top 7 favorite Christmas specials of all time. I don't know. Let me know what you think of the list. All that. That's it. Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope you all have a beautiful, amazing Christmas. It is my favorite holiday. I love Christmas a lot, as you couldn't tell, if you couldn't tell. So let me know what you think of the list. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas. Goodbye.